one of my favorite quotes from the book. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Again, as a carnivore, I don't think of goal weight. I think of maintaining this system of eating. And if we do that, we'll reach our goal weight at much, much more. In fact, the goal weight will probably seem unimportant after a while. We'll have surpassed it. We'll be in better shape than we can even imagine. Hello, friends. It's the Carnivore Rabbi here, as always, to meet, pray, and love. I hope you had a wonderful Mother's Day. And I want to talk about one of my all-time favorite books. I actually gifted this book to my mom a few years ago. You probably heard of it. It's been on the top of the bestseller list for years. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It's about more than the power of habits. It's about how to think about and frame habits so they create lasting change. Habits make us who we are. They're much more powerful than goals, and this book is dynamite for carnivores. Our habits make us who we are. Even little changes can have a tremendous impact, and this channel is to help us have an impact on ourselves and the world. James Clear writes about this power. The impact created by a change in your habits is similar to the effect of shifting the route of an airplane by just a few degrees. This is a small habit change. Imagine you are flying from Los Angeles to New York City. If a pilot leaves from Los Angeles and adjusts the heading just 3.5 degrees south, you will land in Washington, D.C. instead of New York. 3.5 degrees, that's infinitesimal. Such a small change is barely noticeable at takeoff. The nose of the airplane moves just a few feet, but when magnified across the entire United States, you end up hundreds of miles apart. In other words, you change a few key habits or even change one action by just a little bit, you can absolutely transform your life. And throughout the book, he has several insights that have been really helpful to me in becoming a carnivore and sustaining this way of eating. I think they can be life-changing for you as well. Of course, the book is best, but here are some of the key ones that I pulled out and have guided me. Is that systems are much more powerful than goals. Think systems first. Goals create either-or conflict. Either you achieve your goal and are successful, or you fail and you're a disappointment. A systems-first mentality, he writes, provides the antidote. When you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. In other words, you don't have to reach your goal weight to be happy as a carnivore. Be happy with the process of eating, and the goal weight will follow and much more. You can be satisfied anytime your system is running. And a system can be successful in many different forms, not just the one you first envision. In other words, a system is adaptable. Goals are kind of concrete. You can change your goals, but it's limited. Systems can be constantly tweaked. A system is also more sustainable. One of my favorite quotes from the book, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Again, as a carnivore, I don't think of goal weight. I think of maintaining this system of eating. And if we do that, we'll reach our goal weight at much, much more. In fact, the goal weight will probably seem unimportant after a while. We'll have surpassed it. We'll be in better shape than we can even imagine. Second main point, you need to become the kind of person who is conscious of their habits. In other words, discipline starts with how you think of yourself. Here's what he writes. Negative thoughts compound. The more you think of yourself as worthless, stupid, or ugly, the more you condition yourself to interpret life that way. You get trapped in a thought loop. The same is true for how you think about others. Once you fall into the habit of seeing people as angry, unjust, or selfish, you see those kind of people everywhere. Outrage compounds. People think they can't do carnivore. And people think others will think we're crazy. But you have to start with the belief that you can. And you can continue to relate with others. Carnivore is absolutely possible. Look at how many people have done it. Third, to truly succeed, you need to believe in the purpose of what you're doing. In carnivore terms, you need to believe that this is the proper human diet. Here's what he writes. Behind every system of actions are a system of beliefs. The system of democracy is founded on beliefs like freedom, majority rule, and social equality. The system of a dictatorship has a very different set of beliefs like absolute authority and strict obedience. You can imagine many ways to try to get more people to vote in a democracy, but such behavioral change would never get off the ground in a dictatorship. That's not the identity of the system. Voting is a behavior that is impossible under a certain set of beliefs. A similar pattern exists whether we are discussing individuals, organizations, or societies. There are a set of beliefs and assumptions that shape the system, an identity behind the habits. So important, an identity behind the habits. Our belief is that the carnivore diet is the proper way of eating. It's not the only way, of course. We don't have that kind of hubris, but it's the best for us, and we believe the best for human beings. If you don't believe this right away, that's okay. It can take time. Learning takes time. None of this is instant. But we are most effective when our beliefs and our actions are aligned. And you don't have to have your systems and beliefs perfectly set before you begin. Beginning is the hardest part, but you will move toward it. And here's what he writes. I love this. You can't get too attached to one version of your identity. Progress requires unlearning. Becoming the best version of yourself requires you to continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. This is why carnivore is so inspiring and expansive. We become more. Carnivore is just the anchor. When we embrace this way of eating, we expand who we are and we sustain it. As he writes even more, this habit, this way of eating, more precisely, your habits are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed every day, you embody the identity of an organized person. When you write each day, you embody the identity of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. I would add, when you eat meat every day, you embody the identity of a healthy, properly functioning human. The more you repeat a behavior, he says, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. What do we do more often than eat? That's something we have to repeat every day. It shapes who we are, and it then shapes the kind of gifts we can share with the world and the kind of person we can become for those whom we love and we share this world.